All right, get ready because today we're diving deep into one of those books that just about everyone's heard of, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Yeah, it's a classic, and for good reason.
For sure. I mean, so many people have read it, but we're going beyond just like the surface level stuff today. You know what I mean? We're going for those aha moments that can really change how you see things.
That's what's so cool about going back and really digging into Covey's work.
Yeah.
It's not just like a bunch of tips or tricks.
Right.
It's like a whole different way of looking at the world and how we deal with all the crazy stuff life throws at us.
It's about moving from dependence
Mm-hmm.
to interdependence, right?
Exactly.
Like not just needing others to do things for you,
Yeah.
but actually being someone that other people can depend on.
Yes.
Someone who can contribute and collaborate like really effectively.
Absolutely. And a big part of that is understanding how powerful paradigms are.
Paradigms.
Yeah, Covey says our paradigms are those like deeply ingrained mental maps we use to make sense of the world. And those maps can either be super helpful or they can really hold us back.
Okay, I'm with you on that, but can you give us an example? I mean, paradigm is one of those words that people throw around, but it'd be great to have something our listeners can really grasp.
Okay, so think of those optical illusions.
Wow.
You know, the ones where the same image can look like two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one where it's either a young woman or an old lady.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
You see one or the other first,
Right.
and then it's like your brain gets stuck, and it's so hard to switch back and forth.
I can never see both at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like impossible.
That's exactly how strong our paradigms can be.
Wow.
They shape how we see things so much that we didn't even know they're there.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like we're wearing these glasses that we don't even realize are on.
Exactly.
And those glasses are distorting how we see everything.
You got it. And this
Yeah.
is where things get interesting.
Yep.
Covey says that if your paradigms are off, it's like using the wrong map to get somewhere.
Ooh.
You can be working hard. You
Yeah.
can have a great attitude.
Right.
But if that map is leading you in the wrong direction,
Yeah.
you're going to get lost,
You're going to end up in the wrong spot.
no matter what.
So even if you think you're doing all the right things, you could be totally sabotaging yourself without realizing it.
That's the risk with messed up paradigms.
Okay.
They keep us stuck in ways of thinking and acting that don't help us anymore.
Gotcha. So we need to figure out what those paradigms are and then like
Mhm.
maybe change them.
Yeah.
But how do we even find them? I mean, these things are hidden, right? Do we just wait for like a sudden realization to hit us?
Well, sometimes those aha moments do happen,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have to just sit around and wait for them.
Okay, good.
Covey actually gives us some really useful ways to start looking at our paradigms
Oh.
and see which ones might be holding us back.
Okay, so what's the first step?
The first thing is to realize that our paradigms aren't like set in stone.
Okay.
They're learned, which means we can unlearn them and replace them with ones that are more helpful.
So you're saying there's hope?
Big time. Our brains are amazing at adapting.
Yeah,
We just got to be willing to question the stuff we think we know
that makes sense.
and be open to seeing things in new ways.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? I mean, questioning those deep down beliefs that have been with us forever.
That's where Covey's idea of proactivity comes in.
Okay,
It's not just about taking action.
right.
It's about realizing we have the power to choose how we react to any situation.
So we're not just puppets controlled by what's happening around us.
Nope. We have the power to choose.
Okay,
And that's where real change starts.
I like that.
Covey uses this analogy of the goose and the golden egg.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
The golden eggs are like the results we want in life.
Yeah.
Success, achievements,
Hmm.
all that. But the goose is what produces those results. Our skills, relationships, health, even our character.
Okay, so if you're just focused on getting those golden eggs, you might forget to take care of the goose.
Right.
Might burn yourself out or mess up your relationships trying
Yeah.
to get all the good stuff.
And then you end up with a sick goose that can't lay any more golden eggs.
That's a good point.
Covey says real success, the kind that lasts,
Mm-hmm.
starts with taking care of the goose.
Investing in the things that actually make us successful.
Yeah, investing in ourselves and the foundations of our lives.
So it's not just about working harder or being smarter. It's about working from a place where your actions and your values are aligned.
Absolutely.
And making sure that you're not sacrificing your well-being to get ahead.
Exactly, and that brings us back to paradigms.
Okay.
If you think you have to sacrifice your health or relationships or integrity to be successful, you're setting yourself up for a pretty rough time.
Yeah, even if you do achieve some external success.
Exactly. It's not just about what you achieve, but how you achieve it.
I like that.
And one of the most common paradigms Covey talks about is this idea that we're basically shaped by our past.
Oh, yeah. I know people who think like that. They
Yeah.
feel stuck like they're a victim of their past.
And that's where proactivity comes in again.
Okay.
It's realizing that even though we can't change what happened,
Mm-hmm.
we can choose how we respond to it.
Oh,
And
okay.
we can choose how we make sense of it,
Right.
what lessons we learn from it,
Yeah.
and how we let it shape our future.
So instead of saying, I am this way because of what happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
a proactive person will say, I choose to respond to this in a way that makes me stronger, that helps me reach my goals.
Exactly. And just that little shift in how you think about things can be so powerful.
Yeah, it takes you from feeling stuck to
Mhm.
feeling in control.
Exactly. You go from being a victim to being the author of your own story.
Okay, so if we're dealing with these unhelpful paradigms, how do we actually start to change them?
That's a great question and a perfect place to pick things up in part 2.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us as we keep digging into Stephen Covey's 7 Habits.
Yeah, in part 1, we talked about those deep-seated beliefs, paradigms,
Right.
and how taking a proactive approach can help us challenge those that aren't really serving us anymore.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we have a choice
Mm-hmm.
in how we respond to things.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork, but how do we actually put these principles into action when it comes to setting and achieving goals?
Well, that's where habit 2 comes in. Begin with the end in mind.
Again, with the end in mind. Okay.
It's all about having a clear vision of your ideal future.
That sounds kind of abstract. How do we make that vision real?
It's actually less abstract than you might think.
Okay.
Covey suggests this really powerful exercise.
Okay.
Imagine it's years from now
Okay.
and you're at your own funeral.
Whoa, okay.
What do you want people to say about you?
That's a deep question.
It is. It really forces you to think about what matters most.
Yeah, but how do we take those big picture thoughts and actually translate them into things we do every day?
That's where the idea of a personal mission statement comes in.
Okay, personal mission statement.
You're like your own personal constitution,
Uh-huh.
a guiding document that outlines your core values,
Mm.
what you want to achieve, your definition of success, all of that.
So it's not just a list of things to do.
Right.
It's like a declaration of who you want to be in the world.
Exactly. It's about figuring out your unique purpose
Yeah.
and then using that purpose as a compass to guide your decisions.
I love that, using it as a compass.
Covey even talks about writing your own eulogy
Wow.
as a way to get really clear about what you want your life to stand for.
Writing my own eulogy, that's an assignment I've never had before.
Right. It's pretty powerful, though.
Yeah, I can see how that would make you think deeply about the impact you want to have.
Yeah. And once you have that mission statement, that compass,
Okay.
then you can move on to habit 3, put first things first,
Okay, put first things first.
which is all about making sure your daily actions are actually moving you towards those long-term goals.
I can see how that connects back to the mission statement.
Right.
But life gets so crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in all the urgent things.
Exactly.
How do we stay focused on those big priorities when there are a million things screaming for our attention?
That's where Covey's time management matrix comes in.
Oh, yeah. The 4 quadrants, right.
That's the one.
Quadrant 1 is for those urgent and important tasks, the things you absolutely have to deal with right now.
Mm-hmm. Like crises and deadlines.
But the problem is so many of us spend our whole lives in Quadrant 1,
Totally.
constantly putting out fires and feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's like we're always reacting instead of being proactive.
Right, so how do we break free from that?
Well, Covey says the key to real effectiveness is quadrant 2.
Quadrant 2, okay.
The things that are important but not urgent.
Okay, so those are things that are important for the long haul.
Yeah, things that align with your mission statement but don't have that immediate pressure.
So things like planning, building relationships, taking care of your health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those things are crucial, but they often get pushed aside because they don't have a deadline.
Oh, I know that all too well.
And the challenge is that quadrant 2 activities are usually the first to go when things get hectic.
Right, we tell ourselves we'll get to them later, but later never seems to come.
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
So how do we escape the tyranny of the urgent and actually make time for those important but not urgent activities?
Well, discipline is important,
Yeah.
but it's more than just willpower.
Okay.
Covey actually says that those traditional time management tools,
Like calendars and to-do lists?
yeah, those can actually be part of the problem.
Wait, really? I thought they were supposed to help us stay organized.
They can, but only if we use them in the right way.
Okay.
Covey says most of those tools focus on managing tasks,
Uh-huh.
not on leading our lives.
So they might help us get things done? but not necessarily the right things.
Exactly. The things that actually matter in the long run.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
Covey talks about principle-centered time management.
Principle-centered time management.
It's about scheduling your life around your values,
Interesting.
not just around your to-do list.
Okay, so how do we do that? Do we throw out our calendars and just go with the flow?
No, it's not about ditching the tools altogether.
Okay.
It's about using them more intentionally.
Gotcha.
Here's a simple exercise.
Okay.
At the beginning of each week, take some time to look at your mission statement and your long-term goals.
Okay.
Then pick a few quadrant 2 activities
Okay.
that you can actually schedule into your week.
Things that will move you closer to those goals.
Exactly.
So if one of my goals is to build a stronger relationship with my family,
Yeah,
a quadrant 2 activity might be to schedule a family game night.
exactly. It's about making a conscious effort to prioritize those important but not urgent things.
And actually putting them on the calendar.
Treat them like important appointments.
Okay, that's a great tip.
Yeah,
But let's be real. Life happens.
for sure.
Things come up, plans change.
All the time.
What happens when those urgent demands pop up and threaten to derail our perfectly planned schedule?
That's where delegation comes in.
Delegation, okay.
But not just any kind of delegation.
Uh-huh.
Covey calls it stewardship delegation.
Okay.
Stewardship delegation.
It's about empowering others to contribute, take ownership, and really grow in their roles.
So instead of trying to control every little detail, I could delegate tasks to my team and give them the freedom to figure out the best way to get things done.
Exactly, but there's an art to it.
Yeah,
It involves being clear about what you want to achieve, giving people the resources they need, and then stepping back and trusting them to do the work.
trust is a big one.
It is.
It's easy to fall into that trap of thinking, if I want it done right, I have to do it myself.
That's a common mindset, but it's really limiting.
Stewardship delegation is about empowering others to grow, which means letting go of some control.
Okay.
It's also about recognizing that we can accomplish so much more when we work together.
Right. It's about moving from I to we.
Exactly, from independence to interdependence.
And that brings us to what Covey calls the public victory habits.
Habits 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, the ones that are all about building strong relationships.
Exactly. They take those personal effectiveness habits we've been talking about
Uh-huh.
and apply them to how we interact with others.
Okay, this feels like a good place to pause for now.
Absolutely.
We've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
but there's still so much more to explore. All right, welcome back to the deep dive.
We're diving into the public victory today.
Yes, we've been exploring Stephen Covey's 7 habits.
Uh-huh.
Shifting those paradigms, becoming more proactive, and focusing on what really matters.
Right, building that foundation of personal effectiveness.
Exactly. And now we're moving into the realm of collaboration and connection.
It's pretty amazing how Covey lays it all out.
Yeah.
He says that to really succeed in anything, your work, your family, even your community, it all comes down to how well you can connect with others.
That makes sense. I mean, we can't achieve much in isolation, can we?
Nope, most of our goals require some level of cooperation and support from other people.
So that's where habit 4 comes in, think win-win.
Exactly. It's about shifting from that me versus you mentality
Right.
to one of we.
I love the idea of win-win.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, doesn't it often feel like it's either you win or I win? Like a zero-sum game?
That's a really common way of thinking. But Covey would say it's a limiting belief.
Okay.
He believes that there are almost always solutions out there that can benefit everyone.
Interesting.
It's about expanding the possibilities, not just fighting over the same limited resources.
So it's not about being a pushover or giving in.
Right.
It's about being creative and finding those solutions where everyone comes out ahead.
Exactly. And the key to finding those win-win solutions is habit 5.
Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
That's it.
This one's all about empathy, right? Putting yourself in the other person's shoes.
Absolutely. It's about really listening to understand, not just to respond.
Yeah, to grasp their point of view, even if you don't agree with it.
And this is especially crucial when you're dealing with conflict.
Oh, for sure. When emotions are running high.
That's when empathic listening is so important.
Like really tuning in,
Mm-hmm.
not just to the words, but to the feelings behind them.
Exactly. Reflecting back what you're hearing,
Right.
both the content and the emotions, to make sure you're really getting it.
It's like that saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
I love that.
When you take the time to understand someone, it builds trust.
Yeah,
And that makes it so much easier to find solutions that work for everyone.
absolutely. And then that leads to habit 6, synergize.
Okay, synergize.
Mm.
This is where the magic happens.
This is where things get really exciting.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that when people with different viewpoints and strengths come together,
Uh-huh.
they can create something truly amazing, something none of them could have done alone.
Synergy sounds kind of like a buzzword, though. How does it actually work in real life?
Think about a jazz band.
Okay.
Each musician brings their own unique talent and style.
Right.
They improvise, they play off each other's energy,
Yeah.
but they're always listening, always responding, creating something new and beautiful together.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, it captures the spirit of synergy.
Okay, so I see how these habits build on each other.
Mm-hmm.
You start with a win-win perspective.
Yes.
Then you develop the empathy to really understand others.
Uh-huh.
And that sets the stage for true collaboration and synergy.
Exactly. You've got it.
But there's one more piece, right?
That's right. We've talked about the habits that lead to effectiveness,
Yeah.
but Covey says there's one more that's crucial for making sure that effectiveness lasts.
Habit 7, sharpen the saw. It's about renewing ourselves so we can keep going strong.
Exactly. Taking care of ourselves in all aspects of life.
Okay, remind us what those aspects are.
Well, there's the physical,
Okay.
taking care of our bodies through exercise, nutrition, and sleep.
Mm-hmm. The basics.
And then there's the spiritual,
Mhm.
connecting with our values, our sense of purpose.
Right, finding what gives us meaning.
Then there's the mental,
Okay.
expanding our minds through learning, reading, challenging ourselves.
We're staying curious.
And finally, there's the social emotional,
Okay.
building strong relationships, practicing empathy, taking care of our emotional well-being.
So it's not just about achieving things.
Right.
It's about creating a life that's sustainable, a life where we can thrive.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that Covey doesn't see sharpen the saw as something separate.
Mm-hmm.
It's woven into all the other habits.
It's about making self-care and renewal a part of everything we do.
Exactly. It's not like we achieve effectiveness and then say, okay, time to sharpen the saw.
Right. It's an ongoing process.
Yes. A way of life.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Stephen Covey's 7 habits,
Yeah.
it's not about reaching some perfect state of effectiveness.
It's about the journey.
It's about striving to live by these principles
Mhm.
and remembering to take care of ourselves along the way.
And remember, as Covey says, there's always that gap between stimulus and response.
Ooh, I like that.
What will you choose to do at that gap?
The power to create a more effective and fulfilling life is in your hands.
It really is.
Well, that's a wrap for today's deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to put these principles into practice.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep sharpening those saws.
See you next time.